thing about Trudeau was he was like a lot of woke people. He was an unbelievable hypocrite. When he wasn't lecturing about racial injustice, he was putting on blackface repeatedly. It's almost like there wasn't a moment in his life when he hadn't put on blackface to some party. And yet he felt he had the right, the moral right and self-righteousness to lecture us about stuff like racial injustice.
He just seemed like a bad faith actor from the very beginning. And I think Americans really got tuned in when we saw how the truckers were treated throughout COVID. That was absolutely ridiculous. And so I'm definitely glad to see him go. He's been a terrible leader. But sometimes, and this is my faith speaking, these bad things happen for a reason because it does awaken us. It awakens us to how bad things really could get. And I think that he played his role. I call him Little Castro. He definitely played his role and played his part. And I think jolted Canadians and Americans into what's really happening in this region of the world.
Is that, I mean, it seems to be happening everywhere. Partly it's a rejection of incumbent leaders where people are just now, I think probably post-pandemic and all the fallout from that, they've just lost trust in governments generally. They're angry perhaps, they're impoverished by what's happened and they want change, partly. But I also think there is an ongoing, pretty dramatic repudiation of wokery, you know, of what woke stands for. People are just sick of it.
Absolutely. People are totally sick of it. And that's why I said, as much as we can hate these individuals, it took them being so radical. It took them being so left for most of us who were just kind of going along and saying, OK, this is totally fine, to realize how extreme things were and to fight for sanity. I mean, we needed the trans lobby and the trans people to come out and say women can be men and men can be women, for us to wake up and stick our head up of the water and go, wait, what are you saying? What's going on? And so I welcome that. I'm glad that it happened. I'm actually glad even for the Joe Biden presidency. I know that sounds insane, but for people to realize that you can just fully have a puppet in office who is actually not doing anything, to start to question who's really in control of the government, because that wouldn't have happened if we didn't see the obvious mental decline of Joe Biden and wonder who are making those decisions. So all of these conversations, plus the independent media, is here because of the mistakes that were made throughout COVID and with these sorts of leaders at the helm of their nations.